In 2022, you made history by becoming the first Black female track president in the 75 years that NASCAR had existed up to that point. Were you a NASCAR fan?
No, I can't say I was a NASCAR fan. I honestly, I became a NASCAR fan, but honestly knew nothing about the true sport of NASCAR.
How do you fan? Are you somebody like sits quietly? Are you nervous? Do you yell?
No, at a NASCAR race, you don't necessarily have to yell. The sound is doing all the noise for you, right? So you don't necessarily have to yell. But now that I've gotten to know the sport, but also gotten to know actual drivers and teams, I get really excited. I get like more emotional than anything because, you know, I've gotten to know them and I'm like, oh yes, Ryan Blaney, or oh yes, Raja Caruth, right? I'm like super excited.
You've been described as, I'm quoting, a walking party. So I'm wondering, how important is it to you as a leader to reflect the joyfulness of the job?
Yes, well, you know, I have been described as a walking party for a very long time. I think it's just the nature of my personality is just that we should be having fun as much as we can. And I really put that on my team as well. I want them to have fun. If my team's not having fun, then our fans can't have a good time. And so I also want them to be in an environment, you know, that when you're smiling and when you're laughing, you're your best self, right? And so I want them to be in that type of environment too.
You've been extremely successful. Obviously, in your career, you have a couple of teenage boys.
Yes.
How do you model success for them?
Yeah, you know, it's so interesting. Like you said, I have a 13 and a 17-year-old, and you know, there are these days when, you know, you're at work and you're like, oh, everything's so great, right? And then you're at home and you know, you're with your husband and you know, and your family, and you're like, oh, everything's so great, right? But then, like, when things are not great, you're like, oh, I'm the worst mom in the world, right? And so you get this mom guilt, or you get these things, right? Because life happens and life, you know, lives. My priority is always mom. I think that there is just this balance of, you know, having a support system, having people around you, but also prioritization.
You've gone around in the car, right, with the driver. What's the fastest you've gone?
Well, no, so I have not gone around in a car with a driver. I'm always on the track doing pace car rides. I drive myself. I've driven others around the track. I'm not going in with the driver. For now that I built these relationships, I already know what those drivers are going to do to make sure that I'm as terrified as possible. So I have not done that yet. I'll get back to you on that. But you know, they go, I mean, 200 miles per hour, and I mean, I just can't quite process that.
Do you feel pressure to perform because you are the first?
You know, I wouldn't per se say I feel pressure to perform because I am the first. Am I going to provide opportunities for others, for other young girls, young boys even, really provide opportunities to inspire others and open doors, right? Am I going to be a voice for the voiceless? So I feel like that's where the pressure is like, what am I going to do? What can I do? You know, I've worked really hard to get to this position. My resume tells everything that it needs to say. It's just I so happen to be a Black woman and just so happen to be the first to take on this role. But I knew what I could bring to NASCAR with the phenomenal team around me.
You mentioned that you're a Valley native.
Yes.
I have to ask, what were you like in high school?
Well, I like to say I was pretty cool in high school, but I played in the band. I played the flute in the band, the marching band. One thing that my mom always says, she was super involved. She'd say I have like the most diverse group of friends, right? Like I would have, you know, my friends who have absolutely nothing to do with the band, have my band friends, and I would connect everybody. So I would say I probably naturally have always been like a connector, but didn't really know it.
Well, when you pull up with the flute case, I mean, everyone's impressed.
I mean, it's the coolest thing.
Obviously. Well, this month at CW, we're celebrating remarkable women, of course. What makes a woman remarkable, and who were some of the remarkable women in your life?
Yeah, well, you know, I would say first, starting with the remarkable women in my life, I could probably, you know, go through a list. But of course, my mom, I mean, she's phenomenal. If not for my parents, I would not be able to work the way that I do. They have, you know, helped us tremendously with our kids still to this day, helping us raise those kids as well. You know, it takes a village. I also like to say Julie Giese, right? If not for Julie, I wouldn't have this opportunity truly at NASCAR. I mean, I wouldn't have thought of this opportunity. She saw something in me that, you know, I didn't see in myself. She's been phenomenal. She's been a phenomenal support system as well. Even though we are peers, I see her more as a mentor of mine. I definitely think that I have multiple Julies in my life, but Julie Giese has been phenomenal.
And we should say she was the previous track president at Phoenix Raceway.
Yes.
And definitely like part of a sisterhood.
Yes, 100% part of a sisterhood. You know, when she came here, you know, I was here to support her and help her as she was going to do something so major by investing so much money and recreating truly Phoenix Raceway. And she needed the community to support her, and she had someone like me that can help her with those connections, and she did a phenomenal job of recreating. I mean, there's nothing like Phoenix Raceway. It's special, and it's special in so many ways, not just because of the facility itself, but the people, and a lot of that has to do with her.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down, and we can't wait for this season at Phoenix Raceway.
Well, thank you. I can't wait either.